Good day everyone! So for today's topic, let's talk about the global climate change and the consequences of human activities. So ano nga ba ang global climate change? Ito yung pagbabago ng weather ng matagal na panahon. Like yung nararamdaman natin dati na hindi naman mainit, like ngayon sobrang init na dahil sa matagal na panahon na natin ginagawa yung mga pagpuputol ng puno, mina, pagsusunog ng mga basura. So bakit nga ba kailangan natin malaman ang kahalagahan ng global climate change? So why is global climate change is important? Because the impacts of climate change on different sectors of society are interrelated. Drought can harm food production and human health. Flooding can lead to disease spread and damages to ecosystems and infrastructure. Human health issues can increase mortality, impact food availability, and limit worker productivity. So ano nga ba ang mga ito? So sinasabi dito na kailangan nating malaman ang kahalagahan ng global climate change dahil tayo ay maapektuhan nito pag nagpatuloy. Like kawawa yung next generation pag hindi natin ito napigilan. Like pag patuloy nating yung mga gawain natin like pagpuputol ng puno, pagtatapon ng basura sa ilog, pagsusunog, paggamit ng mga sobrang electricity ay sobrang maapektuhan tayo dito. Like sinasabi lang natin na hindi pa siya umepekto ngayon or hindi pa natin nararanasan yung talagang climate change is wala na tayong ginagawang mabuti. Like dapat ngayon magtanim na tayo ng mga puno, maglilinis na tayo, tsaka itapon natin yung mga basura sa tamang tapunan at magtanim ng maraming puno.
Climate change. Ano nga ba ang climate change? Climate change refers to long-term shift in temperatures and weather patterns. This shift may be natural, such as through variation in the solar cycle, but since the 1800s, human activity have been the main driver of climate change. Primary use ay due to burning fossil fuels like coals, oil, and gas. Changing our main energy sources to clean and renewable energy is the best way to stop using fossil fuels. These include technologies like solar, wind, wave, tidal, and geothermal power, switch to sustainable transport. Petrol and diesel vehicles, plane and ship are fossil fuels. So ano nga ba ang climate change? Ang climate change ay ang pagbabago ng klima o panahon dahil sa pagtaas ng mga greenhouse gases na nagpapainit sa mundo. Nagdudulot ito ng baha at tagtuyot, nagkakaroon ng mas maraming bagyo at pagguho ng lupa. Nagkakaroon din ng epekto sa araw-araw na kabuhayan ng mga tao, pagbaba ng produkto o produksyon sa agrikultura at pagtaas ng bilang ng kaso sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Ano-ano ang ilang dahilan ng climate change? Populasyon, dala ng pagsunog ng plastik at mga karaniwang basura, usok ng nagmumula sa sakyan, planta, agrikultura, pagkakaingin, mga gases mula sa kagamitan, at pagpuputol ng mga puno. Sino-sino ang apektado sa climate change? Mahirap o mayaman, lahat apektado sa pagbabago ng panahon. Ngunit mas apektado ka ng climate change kung ang hanap buhay mo ay direktang nakasalalay sa likas na yaman, gaya ng pangingisda at pagsasaka. Hindi sapat ang iyong kinikita at kulang ang iyong kakayanan na tumugon sa mga pagbabago. Kulang ang iyong kaalaman ukol sa climate change. So, paano nga ba mababawasan ang epekto ng climate change? Gawing tama ang pagtatapon ng basura, sundin ang mga patakarang naaayon sa solid waste management na ipinapatupad sa inyong barangay. Gawin ang mga bagay na ito tulad ng reduce o bawasan ang pagkonsumo, reuse, gamitin ulit, recycle, pakinabangan muli sa ibang anyo, at resource conservation, magtipid sa paggamit ng pinagkukunang yaman. Makipagtulungan sa pagsasaayos ng mga kanal at karaniwang daanan ng tubig. Huwag magputol ng mga puno. Magsagawa ng regular clean-up drive. Makiisa sa mga isinasagawang tree planting sa inyong lugar. Makiisa sa mga gawain sa
Effect of climate change. Fossil fuels, oil and gas are by far the largest contributor to global climate change, accounting for over 75% of global greenhouse gas emission and nearly 90% of all carbon dioxide emission. As greenhouse gas emission blanket the earth, they tap the sun, burning fossil fuels, cutting down, and farming livestock are increasingly influence the climate and the earth temperature. This adds enormous amount of greenhouse gases to those naturally occurring in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse effect and global warming. More frequent and intense drought, storm, heat waves, rising sea levels, melting glaciers, and warming oceans can directly harm animals, destroy the place they live, and wreak on people's livelihoods and communities. People and communities, due to sea level rise and extreme weather events, whereas indirect consequences may include disruption to economics, development food production, escalation in water crisis, and increased public health risks. How can health reduce the effect of climate change? Buy and grow local food and use renewable energy and energy efficient appliances, insulate your home, nurture soils and grassland, run for office, explore high and low key, and ways to capture greenhouse gases, support research and organization, and use the 3RRR, reduce, reuse, and recycle, are the three approach and the most environmentally preferred. Reducing reuse and recycle waste help save landfill space by keeping useful materials out.
Is global climate change is important. The impact of climate change on different sectors of society are interrelated. Drought can harm food production and human health. Flooding can lead to disease spread and damages to ecosystem and infrastructure. Human health issues can increase mortality, impact food availability, and limit worker productivity. Climate change is already impacting health. Changes in weather and climate patterns can put lives at risk. Heat is one of the most deadly weather phenomena. As ocean temperature rise, hurricanes are getting stronger and weather which can cause directly and indirectly deaths. So climate change is happening now that affect not only us human but also the animals and the plants. Because of the suddenly change of the weather, the severity of effects caused by climate change will depend on the part of future human activities. More greenhouse gases emission will lead to more climate extremes and widespread damaging effects across our planet. If we can reduce emission, we may avoid some of the worst effects. If neglect this kind of situation, it will lead us to death. For example, like rising the sea level, shrinking mountain caches, accelerating ice melting and greenhouse gases, and then the 3 R's ay sundan natin. We have reduce, reuse, recycle.
Consequences of climate change. The impacts of climate change on different sectors of society are interrelated. Drought can harmful food production and human health. Flooding can lead to disease spread and damage to ecosystem and infrastructure. Human health issues can increase mortality, impact food availability, and limit worker productivity. Human activities such as burning fossil fuels and destroying rainforests have an increased influence on the climate and the Earth's temperature. This adds huge quantities of greenhouse gases to those naturally present in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse effect and global warming. Climate change has a wide range of consequences, including rising sea levels, which can lead to coastal flooding and erosion, increased frequency and severity of heat waves, drought, and extreme weather events, changes in precipitation patterns, which can lead to water scarcity in some areas and flooding in others, damage to ecosystem and loss of biodiversity, impact on agriculture, forestry, and fishing, spread of disease and other health impacts, increased risk of wildfires, displacement of people and economic disruption. These consequences can have significant social, economic, and environmental impacts and can disproportionately affect communities that are already vulnerable, such as low-income communities and communities of color.
Humans impact the physical environment in many ways. First is yung overpopulation. Ang pinaka-cause nito is yung lack of family planning, which is may mga family or may mag-asawa na hindi na pinaplano kung hanggang ilan or ilan lang dapat yung anak nila. Next is, because of overpopulation, maaari ding madagdagan ng mga unemployed or yung mga walang trabaho. And maaari ding dahil dito is mag-cause siya ng immigration, which is example dito or halimbawa na dito is yung mga OFW na nangingibang bansa para matugunan yung mga pangangailangan ng mga anak nila kasi hindi na sapat yung nagiging sahod or sweldo nila dito sa Pilipinas. Kaya kailangan na nilang mangibang bansa para madagdagan or matustusan yung mga pangangailangan ng pamilya nila. Next is maaari ding magkaroon ng water shortage dahil sa overpopulation and maaari ding madagdagan yung pollution or maaaring dumami yung sasakyan na nagkakos ng pollution. This second is pollution. Pollution kasi marami ng sasakyan na naglalabas ng usok na nalalanghap natin. For example is yung may mga sasakyan na ang kakapal na ng usok which is ang itim-itim na which is gawa din siya ng tao kaya siya naging human activity or consequences of human activity. Next is yung burning fossil fuels. Ang burning fossil fuels is for example nagsiga ka or nagsiga ka ng mga plastic bottles or yung mga dahon, ganun. Nagre-release siya ng large amount of carbon dioxide which is nakakasira din sa environment natin. Next is yung deforestation. Ang pagpuputol ng puno, nagkakos siya ng flood or baha and syempre ng landslide and baha at landslide. Changes like this have triggered climate change, soil erosion, poor air quality, and undrinkable water. Dahil dito sa mga consequences ng human activities, nagkakos siya ng soil erosion which is pagtuyo ng lupa and hindi na natataniman na mga lupa. Next is yung poor air quality which is yung hangin na nalalanghap natin is hindi na healthy or yung hangin na nalalanghap natin is nakakasama na sa atin. Next naman is yung undrinkable water which is maaaring hindi na natin mainom yung mga tubig or hindi na malinis yung mga tubig dahil sa kagagawan din ng tao. Consequences of human activities. burning fossil fuels, releasing chemicals into the atmosphere, reducing the amount of forest cover, and the rapid expansion of farming development and industrial activities are releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and changing the balance of the climate system. Ayun nga, burning fossil fuels. Consequence siya ng human activities kasi tao ang gumagawa, tao din ang nakakalanghap. Kumbaga, syempre kapwa-tao natin nagsisiga, tayo din ang makakalanghap nun. Reducing the amount of forest cover, yun yung nagpuputol-putol ng mga puno, nagpuputol ng puno na nagkakos din sa atin ng flood, baha, landslide, and
these are the human activities that affects the earth. First is the overpopulation. Overpopulation refers to the exceeding of certain threshold limits of population density when environmental resources fails to meet the requirement of individual and so forth. So, sa madaling salita, ang overpopulation is ang mabilisang paglaki o paglobo ng isang populasyon. Why is overpopulation affects the earth? So, ang paglaki ng isang populasyon ay maaaring makapinsala. Isa na rito ay ang deforestation. Bakit nga ba deforestation? Dahil ang mga taong walang matirhan o walang permanenteng tirahan ay binibigyan ng ating gobyerno ng pwesto sa mga lugar na pwede nilang tayuan nito. Piniputol nila ang mga puno dahil lang sa bagay na ito. So, ang iba naman ay pinuputol ang mga puno upang makagawa ng bagong produkto. Second is the climate change. Alam naman natin na ang climate change ay ang pagbabago ng klima at temperatura. May masama din itong epekto gaya ng pagkasira ng kalusugan, tirahan, pagkain at kabuhayan. Marahil isa rin itong kagagawa ng mga tao. Ang global warming ay isa ring dahilan kung paano nasisira ng overpopulation ng ating ekonomiya. Ang global warming ay ang pag-init o pagtaas ng temperatura ng ating bansa. Nagbubunga ang isang global warming ng dahil sa kagagawan ng maraming tao, gaya ng pagsunog ng basura, pagputol ng mga punong kahoy, air pollution, pagtayo ng factories, pagsunog ng produktong mula sa petrolyong gas, pagkalbo ng kagubatan at sakahan. Paano nga ba natin maiiwasan ang overpopulation? So, maiiwasan natin ito sa pamamagitan ng paggamit ng birth control, IUD o intrauterine device, tubal ligation, family planning, pills, at iba pa. Second is the pollution. Ang pollution ay ang pagiging marumi ng kapaligiran at ng hangin. So, ang pangunahing sanhi ng pollution sa hangin ay nauugnay sa pagsunog ng mga fossil fuels like carbon, langis at natural gas. Ang pagkasunog ng mga hilaw na materyales na ito ay nangyayari pangunahin sa mga pangproseso at operasyon sa sektor na pang-industriya at transportasyon sa kalsada. Paano nga ba natin maiwasan ang pollution? So, maiwasan natin ang pollution sa pamamagitan ng pagtapon ng mga basura sa tamang lalagyan. Ugaliin din i-check ang mga makina ng mga sasakyan upang hindi ito bumaga ng maruming usok. Third is the burning of fossil fuels. Burning fossil fuels refers to the burning of oil, natural gas, coal to generate energy. Ginagamit natin ito para ma-generate ang electricity and to power transportation and industrial processes. So, ang mga epekto ng pagsusunog ng fossil fuels ay ang pagkakaroon ng air pollution, pagtaas ng temperatura sa daigdig, global warming, greenhouse effect, acid rain, at climate change. The last one is the deforestation. Ang deforestation ay ang pagkalbon sa mga kagubatan sa pamamagitan ng pagtutroso o pagsunog sa mga punong kahoy. Negatipong nakakaapekto sa kagubatan sa pagbabago ng klima, global warming, at greenhouse gas emissions. Sa parehong oras, ang mga pagbaha ay humahantong sa pagkalipol ng wildlife. Isang pagbawas sa kalidad ng buhay ng mga tao, ang kaasiman ng mga karagatan, at ang pagtaas ng pagkalipol ng biodiversity. Maiwasan natin ang deforestation kung magtatanim tayo ng mga puno at palitan ang mga pinuputol natin.
Discuss the human activities that can help or save our Mother Earth. Unfortunately, humans have not been very good stewards of the earth over the years. To protect the environment and preserve the planet of our children and future generation, we all need to take proactive steps toward cleaner living habits. The key is not to stop consuming but to start being mindful of our consumption habits and how each purchase or action affects the ecosystem. So here are the ways that we can help to protect our earth. Compost. Composting your food scraps and yard waste offer double rewards. It keeps an incredible amount of trash out of the waste stream, and it produces free, rich soil to use in your garden. Choose reusable over single use. Switch to reusable items and make a commitment to use them as often as possible. You'll have less trash piling up at your curb, and you'll be helping to protect the environment in a major way. Recycle properly. Educate yourself on what can and cannot be recycled in your bins at home. Throwing the wrong items in the recycle bin can result in the entire load being rejected, which means back to the landfill. Use less water. Conserving water at home is one of the easiest ways to protect the environment. Use your purchasing power for good and conserve electricity. And all I can say is that protecting our Mother Earth will start with us.
So as a student, how we can help our environment? We can help our environment like planting trees because trees provide food and oxygen. They help save energy, clean the air, and help combat climate change. The second is volunteer. Volunteer for cleanups in your community. You can get involved in protecting your watershed too. The last is educate. Educate when you further your own education. You can help others understand the importance and value of our natural resources. So before we end this presentation, we would like to say that one of the first conditions of happiness is that the link between man and nature shall not be broken.